Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic University podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Canton III, and we are here to discuss the latest MCU installment, Thunderbolts with an asterisk. So many things going on there. We'll discuss it soon enough. And we will also discuss patreon.com/MC University podcast. We can get our bonus content, such as, guys, we are on a new frontier this month as we will be diving into, with Fantastic Four First Steps coming out in July, we will be revisiting all of the Fantastic Four movies leading up to this point. And if you're on YouTube right now, you can see Rod with that look on his face because he knows exactly what we're about to get into, including that third film. When we get into July, I'm not looking forward to that third film, but I will find a way to watch it. Well, but if you would like to join us for that, that's $3 plus every back episode that we've ever had, which includes a million things that are coming out. Mission Impossible, we've done the entire franchise to that point. John Wick, the entire franchise. Bad Boys, a whole bunch of action movies and a lot of things you could get into, including our wonderful Discord who's had a very spirited chat about this movie, Thunderbolts, which is a lot of fun. But with that being said, let me introduce our wonderful panel. First, with the super producer, Jake Christie. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing well, and I just want to remind listeners that oftentimes the worse the movie, the better the pod. So I can tell you one thing for sure, that Fantastic Four 2015 pod is going to be fucking special. It's going to be great.
Oh, I cannot wait. And we do have two guests with us. Firstly, we have the man who we always leave the key under the mat for, and he always comes back, Rod, a.k.a. the black guy who tips. Rod, welcome back to the show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Good to see you guys again. And yeah, you guys really love your fans to watch that fucking Fantastic Four, that third one, bro. I ain't not even from Michael B. Jordan, dude. I can't do it.
Oh man, yeah, it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing, but that's July, and this is now. And we also have our pal, one of our favorite nerdalists, Leah Marilla Thomas. Leah, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Doing great. Glad I don't have to talk about 2015's Fantastic because it's not just bad; it's boring.
Yes,
just like the third act is it's dull.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
I was so happy. I was so.
I want to get clear. It was my idea, and I'm sorry, but also it's gonna be good. I just know it's gonna be good content. I know.
Hey, look, roasting a movie can be just as good as loving a movie sometimes. So I mean, as long as you like Grayscale, you'll enjoy the third act.
So with Thunderbolts coming out this past weekend, I think the biggest thing that occurred leading up into this movie were people were generally wondering like what kind of expectations should we have for this movie. I think the most general thing I'll say before we get into theater experiences is I had a very positive and strong feeling for this movie last year when Florence Pugh on the first day of shooting came out and did kind of like a video update to everybody, and it kind of showed that A, she was very excited about it, B, she was extremely interested in it, and C, it seemed like Marvel was in a good state of mind in terms of marketing this movie and getting back to, hey, we want to have you come and see these movies because we're doing something important, and Marvel movies should be fun and something that we shouldn't be hiding from everybody. And I think with Florence Pugh doing that, it kind of set this kind of chain reaction off of what I feel has been just positive marketing. Everything leading up to it has been the A24 stuff, the Wheaties box, just really classic, meat and potatoes in terms of marketing. And I think it did such a great job. And overall, it's kind of led to, I think, what has been a generally positive view on this movie. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that completely, I want to go into everybody's first theater experiences with it because, as always with an MCU movie, depends if you see it with a crowd or something along those lines and what the energy was like. So, Leah, I'll start with you. When you first saw this movie, what was the atmosphere like?
Well, I was at a 10:30 a.m. New York press screening. So for these movies, it's not a super serious crowd. Like there are plenty of fellow nerdalists there. So it was good. I think we were all also sort of optimistic in a way that I hadn't experienced in a while, where it was like, I think people think this is a good one. And like that Florence Pugh Instagram stood out to me as well. Like they really seem to trust her with this and trust us with this, and something's in the water. Yeah, I think it was a pretty active crowd. Oddly, the only cynical thing I experienced was at an actual opening night screening. I went back on Thursday to the IMAX at Lincoln Center. And as I was leaving, I overheard a girl say on the escalator, I mean, the barrier of entry for Marvel movies these days is so high. And I was like, my God, I made it 5 days without someone saying this. Not even 5, like 2 days, 3 days. Oh my God.
Oh goodness, oh goodness. And Rod, how about you? What was your first theater experience like with this movie?
Yeah, you know me. I go Thursday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get
Yes.
spoiled. And also to me, those are the most diehard fans. Like those are the
Mhm.
people like me that also don't want to have any discussions happen where they've
Mhm.
spoiled a movie. And this one felt like one of those ones where you want to see it first and not like have people. I'm glad have people spoil it later. Anyway, vibes are great because they're always great normally with a crowd like that. And it was very active, like laughing. You can hear people laughing along with you when there was like inside references and callback jokes and stuff like that, which is always a good sign. And genuinely, I know I teared up during a certain part, but like when
Mhm.
it felt like it's like when you see an orchestra or something, like a good director, it's
Mhm.
like the crowd is wherever they needed them to be. So when
Mhm.
it was time to be like a little bit more like worried and sad, it was. When it was quippy and fun, it was. When it was, over the top boisterous, when the action was dope, like it just really hit with the crowd where I was at.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Jake, how about you?
Yeah, I saw it opening night, AMC, Times Square, and the vibe was really. I think that I think that it definitely is an interesting vibe because people are excited. I think people who are like pay really close attention to it are excited because like they had heard the good buzz generally. But obviously there's like the apprehension of like, what is this movie? Who are these characters? And I think I find very interesting is something that like I saw David Harbour admit in an interview that I actually saw after I saw the movie, where he said, and like this is something that you don't want to say necessarily, but it's like we knew that we had to make this movie good because we can't sell it on Iron Man's in this. And like that is actually a shockingly honest admission, but we all know intuitively that that's true. It's just something you wouldn't actually expect someone to say out loud. Um, and I think that I remember, and this is exclusively just me patting myself on the back. I think I was the first person to identify that the take on Thunderbolts is going to be, Thunderbolts is low-key really good. And honestly, the vibe it's the only thing that surprised me is how immediately everyone realized that because like this is almost exactly what I was hoping for the movie to be. That there are so many things it does in it that it does, and we'll talk about this more, but it does by the function of the fact that it is not a load bearing movie, that it is not like required for the fate of the MCU, that it is not a movie that has all the biggest characters, and like there are choices that it's able to make and story avenues it's able to go down. That was like, I'm like, this is what you want, like, this is what I want the Marvel movies that are not the big event ones to do. And it feels like so many of the misfires that Marvel movies have had have been not taking advantage of that. And it's like, no, like, this is actually a fairly small story for a Marvel movie. Like, obviously, the Void takes over the island of Manhattan, but in terms of Marvel scale, that's pretty small. That, like, you know, they actually, like, they did the thing. Like, they did the thing I've been asking them to do forever. And one last thing I want to say, which I think it's a good segue to what the movie is. I don't know if you guys, AC, did you see the meme where someone said that DC made the Suicide Squad and Marvel made the Suicidal Squad?
Suicidal
That was the first
ideation
I've heard of
squad.
that.
Yeah, suicidal ideation squad.
That's funny. That's funny. And I gotta say, like before I'll just quickly go in my theater experience. Shout out to Screen Rant, was able to see the movie a couple days early. AMC Times Square 40X, which was my first time doing 40X, which was fun.
Whoa. You saw it Regal Times Square 40X. AMC doesn't have 40X.
Yeah, excuse me, Riga.
As an unlimited member, I have to clarify.
I confuse these things all the time. Hashtag Watch Agenda. But yes, the experience was a lot of fun. Everybody who came was really into it, and when you get the MCU fans who are really into everything that's going on, you could tell there's kind of like just a palpable excitement for the movie. And I think throughout, everybody was enjoying the comedic timing of one David Harbour's Red Guardian. That was a lot of fun throughout the movie, and I think there was just a really good positive energy, and it's nice to feel. It's nice to feel that. So I felt that when I saw it, and then I went back IMAX yesterday to see it in Fresh Meadows, and again, people had the same type of positive energy towards the movie. So I don't think you can talk about this movie without starting with its main character, Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, because quite frankly, s- it, it- this is a superstar. This is a person who, as I said previously, when somebody who wants to be a part of this, you let them do it. You let them like dive in 1000%. And when you get something like that, you get a really, what I quite frankly, powerful performance. I think just overall, like the chemistry with everybody who she comes into contact with, it allows the movie, even in parts where the plot could get wonky, you don't care because she's on the screen and she's telling Bob to get behind me, and that's a thing that matters. That's a thing that you care about. And I think the biggest thing that she accomplished, I think more so than anything else, was it gets you to care about these characters, which I think is something that's been missing for a very long time. Because a lot of these stories have kind of been focused on story and plot and all of this other stuff. No, the reason why the MCU has been so successful in the past has been the fact that we care about these characters and how they're feeling and what they're thinking and on all of those things. Yelena Florence Pugh allows us to take a real deep look inside who Yelena is as a person, and then it translates to every other character that she's a part of in the team. And I think that's the biggest part of why this movie is good and why I think it's going to be successful and why they've hit the gas on the marketing and put these characters in position to succeed. Rod, I'll start with you here. What did you think of? What stood out to you the most of Florence Pugh's performance?
Um, I mean, as always, I look at it from a comedy angle, and I think the more characters you add to this universe, the harder it is to be funny in it because so many characters are written and performed as just like these quip machines, like boom, boom, boom. They always know the flow.
Everyone's Iron Man 2.0.
Yeah, and so there's some characters over the last few years that have been added that I've really enjoyed, like their different take on being funny. Kamala Khan, that whole like that is different. Even She-Hulk had a different flavor of comedy. It was more absurdist and over the top. Also, of course, the breaking the fourth wall and stuff. And one of my personal favorites is actually Brie Larson. Like Brie Larson's like sullen sarcasm, deadpan it fucking kills me. And like that character is so fucking funny to me. And once again, so innovative. We're 21 movies in. How do you be funny? That's just not like everyone else. I thought it was over for finding new ways to be funny, to be honest, because I'm like every archetype's been done, but like Yelena's like Russian depressed kind of like sarcasm, but more like it's more like a straightforward like misunderstanding or understanding of something. That shit was killing me, man. Like Florence Pugh's so funny. I've seen her be everything before, but I don't think I other than when she's being Yelena and like Hawkeye. I didn't really think she was funny in a lot of stuff I watched. I thought, she's charismatic or she's whatever, but she's also gonna make me cry at some point during this. And this joint, she was so funny. So I think the humor for her was what stuck out to me. Everything else, action and the heart and the chemistry with all the other, like she lifts every scene. This is what we've been talking about on this show for a while, was Marvel needed to find a star because
Yeah.
stars just lift people. Downey, obviously, like how many of us thought Chris Evans was like that until he was acting across from Robert Downey Jr. Was like, oh, I apologize, I wasn't familiar with your game. Apparently, Chris Evans is like that. That she made me feel like that about other actors in this movie. Where I'm like, oh, they're hanging with her in this scene. They like that now, and so yeah, she totally lifted this movie.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there. And Leah, how about you? What you think about Florence and what she brought to this movie?
What stood out to me was the blue eyeliner. that she wore. And I'm joking, but I'm also being serious because we saw in Black Widow that she's kind of a maximalist when it comes to fashion. And you can tell how depressed she is at the beginning of this movie because she's wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt and not doing anything with her hair, and then like starts incorporating color and accessories back in. Um, yeah, just a great arc. Yeah, it's nice when people want to be here. And I feel like more people want to be in the MCU than we give them, or not we, definitely not this room. The internet gives them credit for. Um, yeah, the humor
Yeah,
as
and
well, all of it.
yeah, and Jake, how about you?
I mean, she's just so charismatic and so funny. And I think the reason why the character works so well is because like the humor from her comes from her character. It comes from the things that are true about her otherwise, that it's not separate. And I think that she's so committed, and I also think like I think some people don't like to be this simplistic about it because it sounds almost like unfair, but some people just have faces that are meant to be hundreds of feet tall on a movie screen, and every centimeter of her face, every millimeter of her face can do something interesting. Like she can convey so much with just a slight move of her face, and that's something that I don't think you can take for granted. Like there's really a power to that, especially in these gigantic movies where it's so cacophonous, where there's so much going on. The fact that she can sell so much about the way she's feeling without a line, without just a move of her face, is vital. And I think that her ability to hold this together, because like this movie is a hodgepodge of characters that have not really been together before for the most part, that you know they're kind of together by random chance, and like the thing I appreciate so much about this movie is that like it doesn't it yeah, I joked earlier about how it's not the Suicide Squad, but the thing I like about it is that like it doesn't pretend like these characters are like the worst people in the world and they're reformed, because I think that that's something that kind of annoys me about the original Suicide Squad movie. It's like I don't know, it feels like there's a varying degrees of how bad these people are. Some of them are just like was a contract killer, some of them are like is a guy who accidentally killed people, whereas these are like kind of like mercenaries in a way.
Yeah.
And I think that the way that like this movie it's kind of a movie about like the side characters of these big budget superhero movies, of like the characters you don't think about who make like one or two appearances. Like what is life like for the assassin who's hired to kill the superhero? How does their life go? And I like that. One of the choices I love so much is that even before the events of the movie, she clearly is struggling with a thing and realizes that she's already partially on her journey to discovering that she wants to be a hero before the movie starts. It's not like it's a big surprise, because I think that that's like that's so annoying with the movies where it's like these bad guys turn good, where it's completely out of nowhere. It's like no, like her sister. It would be really dumb if she had never thought before about being a superhero. Her sister is a superhero. Like her dad. Like clearly she had this thought before, and I like that this is a movie that's not about like she's not like I'm not a hero. I'm a bad person. I'm not here. Like on some level, she knows that she has this in her, and I think it takes other people seeing that in her in order to bring it out to the forefront. But like, this is a movie about people who are like kind of bad, not super villains, and I think that that's really to its strength.
Yeah, the light that Alexei mentions throughout that comes at the beginning of the movie and then in the scene where they're having that conversation. Um, that's the thing that you see in Yelena. It's there. She's the connector. She's the person who's kind of motioning for this person to go here and this person to be here, trying to like without leading without being the leader is something that can't be taught. And I love the way that they kind of weave that in, and her performance allows that to be so natural. And that's what makes a lot of this a lot of fun.
It felt like
Um, yeah,
also just narratively, it felt like that made sense for her character. Looking at all the other things we watched, from Black Widow to Hawkeye to now, like it didn't feel like a stretch. Like for this movie, we need you to be this type of role. It was like, no, this is her arc. She would have gotten to this point, like seeing what Nat went through, seeing essentially being a mentor to Kay in Hawkeye, like this
yeah,
would be her progression eventually, that she would wind up somehow being a figure for some level of like righteousness or justice or vengeance in this very violent ass world.
yeah,
Which
for
is
sure.
so refreshing. Love Scarlett Johansson and Natasha as I do, she was not necessarily given that in the first couple of phases of the MCU. She was a different character with a different hairstyle in every single movie, so it's so nice to see a little bit of continuity.
Yeah, it really, in hindsight, they really did her dirty the first couple of movies she
And
was
I can
in.
make it work in my head and my heart. I can,
No.
but
Yeah,
it's
like the
come
place that
on.
they ended up with her, I think, was good.
Yeah.
But really, it's
Great.
like they kind of were like this. Going back and watching Iron Man 2, it's like the only ideas they had were catsuit, end of list. Like really, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Oh man. And the movie's message is, and the movie's story, I think, is such an interesting choice, and I would say very creative to do with the Sentry slash Void character, and make that a central part of the film, leaning into the idea of depression and mental health. Um, I was very surprised in how they made all of that work so well, and how it each character you kind of, even I felt sympathetic for John Walker, which I was
Oh,
not
I
expecting.
did too.
Isn't that
Ah,
crazy?
I was not
what the
not
fuck?
I was not I didn't think that was gonna happen
Very
for me. It was
for the
like,
record, I like after this movie, I have so much appreciation for that actor because he
Yeah.
plays a dick
yeah.
so
Yes!
fucking well.
Yes!
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yes!
god! Every fucking
Yeah.
scene, he is a dick. Like even when you find out his family's fucked up, like you're like, oh, that's you don't go. That's why you're a dick. You go. That's because you're a dick. Damn.
I mean, I really think what it is, and I think Leo will back me up on this. It's like because he is, I don't know if you know this, Rob, but he's Kurt Russell and Goldie
Yeah.
Hawn's son, right?
Mhm.
And so he looks so much like Kurt Russell and so much like Goldie Hawn, but he looks just a little bit off from both of them. He looks just off of being a leading man, like just a little bit off. And I think that like that is the thing about him is like he looks like America's golden boy a little bit. You know what I mean? And I
Well,
think
you're
that
right, but I want to give credit to the actor though, because
no,
like
no,
I feel like Sebastian Stan also looks 1 degree off from leading man,
I agree.
and but I love Sebastian Stan. I'll fucking fight you over
No,
Sebastian Stan.
of
I
course.
want to punch this nigga in the face.
I think the thing I appreciate about Wyatt Russell is rather than like I think he weaponizes the fact that he looks a little bit like almost exactly like
Yes.
America's golden boy, really, but like he is like as many criticisms I have about the way that John Walker was handled in the final episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Wyatt Russell has complete understanding of his character. Even if I think that the Rise of Falcon and Winter Soldier thought he was more redeemable than he should have been, I don't think Wyatt Russell would
I
be.
want to go
I think
on record to say that I don't think that show thought it was redeeming him.
Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't
that's
think
fair.
so
Okay.
either. I was
A
on
nod,
that,
just a
though.
nod.
Yeah, I think that we ended up agreeing to disagree on that. But I think
Yeah.
that Wyatt
me
Russell.
and you gonna be friends.
Yeah, I think that Wyatt Russell understands. He understands how someone could end up like him. Like because
Yeah.
that's what makes the character interesting. Is he's playing an asshole, but with empathy for what led him to be that way. Because he's kind of like, I did all the things right. I was the champion football player. I
Mhm.
went to the military.
Oh,
I was
God.
Captain America.
That
Like I did
so
everything right.
specific.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. Down to
think-
like when he was talking about, he was like, "Don't you think my helmet's cool?"
That was such a great
Loser.
scene. That was such a great scene because the way
Loser.
the way Yelena's kind of like Yelena and Ghost is like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
He gets
Just
red for filth in every fucking scene, and he's so good at it.
Great.
And he's so good at like setting himself up to be red for filth again and again and again. It's honestly it's a skill, and you just do not see a lot of people with that skill. Where because I don't feel, like I said, I don't feel sympathy for him on a level of redemption. I don't
Right.
think the script is asking me to, but
No,
I
it's
feel
not, yeah.
sympathy in a like, damn, even bad shit happens to assholes. Like not a, it's like and I like if at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it felt to me like this is what America would allow for a guy like him, not like. Me at home as an audience should be like, can't wait for the spinoff. Captain John Walker is like, no, fuck this guy, obviously, but America, they're not gonna put him in prison. He's not gonna face any consequences, and he'll be working for a fucking villainess at the end of it because that's the kind of thing it is. And in his mind, he'll always still be the hero. He's gonna go home, he's gonna listen to Joe Rogan, and he's gonna vote for Trump, and he's gonna be like, I'm still winning in life. This is what is right. This is America, and he'll be halfway right.
more well, more on that whole thing a little bit later in the show because I have some thoughts on some stuff that happened past the credits. But before we get to that, there continuing on with the theme of the message of the movie with the mental health aspect and how we kind of see the flashbacks of Yelena as a youngster and luring that friend of hers to get killed. That's like, oh boy, that is some dark shit, man. That, I mean, goodness gracious. So you can see, like, even from the beginning, and kind of the way that Alexei kind of bounces off of her, as opposed to like really listening to her at the start, because Alexei's just doing the whole Alexei. I gotta just be the very jovial, like everything's all right type of person. This kind of darkness that Yelena has is just something that uh emanates throughout the movie. But one of the characters that she ends up meeting along with Ghost and John Walker is Pullman's Bob. And I have to say, one Lewis Pullman impressed the hell out of me in this movie.
Yeah,
Just
he's
a
so good.
really good performance. Leah, give me your thoughts on what you saw from Lewis, because I think he had a lot of lifting to do for this character, because it's a kind of, in some ways, it's a couple of different characters. So, what did you think of what you saw from him, and how he stood out in this movie?
Yeah, an incredible performance. Another nepo baby, we should say. Another copy paste face, we should say. Um, and just incredible. I've seen him in a couple of things, but nothing really this meaty. And really just like kept me on my toes. He was unhinged in a way that was like entertaining and unsettling. When he grabs the gun and starts like shooting, I
Yeah.
was a little bit scared. It was giving Joker a little bit too much. Um but then just like of like a very sympathetic arc. I'm fascinated to see what they do with this character in the future. I think him and Yelena have a very interesting little bond.
Yes,
So
yes, they
lots,
do.
yeah, there's so much there.
I think the thing that astonished me so much about his performance is that like it's really hard to portray depression on screen because a
Mhm.
lot of times just like you just make someone like sit in a corner and mope. And I think that like he plays the manic depression thing really well because like he in his first scenes, especially when you see him interacting with John Walker, he really feels like a guy who just like doesn't care about living anymore. Like how recklessly he talks to him. Like the moment like he throws him against the wall, he's like laughing. Like that's the behavior of someone who's like kind of really
Mhm.
like really down in the dumps. Like who's not like to the point where he's beyond. I think like misery. He's just like clearly he doesn't care if he lives or dies in a certain way. Like he makes that very clear, and you feel really like bad for him in a way that is like you feel sympathy for him but you also don't hate being around him. It's not like, oh my god, this character's being so boring. Like he's clearly a charming guy who has a lot of issues and they're not simple fix issues, and you completely you buy it when he turns into the Sentry, because he doesn't really turn into the Sentry that much. Like he's able to like play like in the scenes where he's just like as a Sentry, like it doesn't feel right to anyone. It's and that I think is what's so great about casting him is because like he does. If there's a way to make him look like the Sentry and be the Sentry that looks conventionally good, like he has his dad's
Yeah.
jawline, like he could easily be the Sentry and it would look fine. But the fact that just with the way he carries himself and the way that he acts, you're like, this is not right. Like this guy actually like the thing I really appreciate about it is this is a comic book movie, but he is not comic book unstable, right? He is not playing comic book movie crazy. He's playing like
Mhm.
real life, like mentally ill, and that like there's been way too many people heaping praise on movies that are big franchise movies for like doing a modicum of stuff about mental illness. But like I think that they took that part completely seriously. Like they didn't they use comic book logic to quote unquote solve it to like help him. But yeah, he's not playing the Joker. He's not playing like
Yeah.
he's playing a guy who's like legitimately struggling.
Well, I think an interesting thing about that is it does actually fit with the character in the comic books to a degree. and I think it allows it to be very seamless because the void is this real legitimate darkness that is so powerful, and then on top of that, Sentry is kind of the same thing. Sentry's kind of going back and forth and struggling with the two sides, and I think that's such an interesting story to tell if told well, and I think this accomplished that. So, Rod, I know you're a comic book guy. What did you think of just like overall the Sentry and the Void and Bob all rolled into one?
I think the earnesty of the character came across so strongly, and a lot of times I think the mistake is to not lean into that. But honestly, earnesty and corniness are two of the most powerful things in film. Like sometimes you just need to do some corny ass shit, and it hit hard because everybody was just like, you can't defend against it. You know what I mean? It's too much in your face. And they had a moment in this film, like I said, that I teared up was because when he's going through in the void, and it's clearly like that self voice is defeating him, and it feels so powerful. And then they get out through it through like togetherness and through coming and fighting
The
their
power
own
of
demons
friendship.
to show
Yes.
empathy. And it's like a corny fucking nuclear bomb, right? It's earnesty overload, but in the best of ways. And like
Yeah.
it wasn't cynical, it was very hokey, and it was like something you see on a Saturday morning cartoon or something. But I actually thought he did well in that, and that the movie does well joining into that vibe of like earnest just pure like corniness or whatever. He also was funny. I think the most difficult thing about the character to me is that he's an amnesiac. Like he doesn't remember shit. So like
Yeah.
he's such a blank slate that as the mania is building, having someone come tell you and you have proof of it, you're a superpowered god, you're more powerful than God, we want you to save the earth. It's like the exact wrong person to say this to. He was that person, but he didn't play it like I'm an evil guy. He clearly was like, I'm a hero. It makes sense. Look at me, I can't die. You guys are the ones being weird. There's a moment when Valentina tells him to like kill everybody, and I'm like, he won't do that. In my heart, I'm like, I don't know shit about the script at this point, but I'm just like, there's no fucking way Bob's doing that. He's not a fucking murderer. He's a guy. He's just he's a nice dude having a manic attack essentially. And when he doesn't kill him, like he whoops their ass in one of the most like brutal scenes I've ever. They was trying everything on this man.
That was really fun.
My man was he was eating them things. But yo, when that shit felt like Dragon Ball. But the way that
Clay Thompson 60 points on 13 dribbles. That's what it was.
That motherfucker's efficiency in that, because you're right, 13 dribbles, dog. He was not putting the ball on the ground to dismiss these motherfuckers. When he bent that shit, anyway, my point being, the way that was handled or whatever was so well done that it felt like the indie, all that stuff they had in that trailer about indie movies and how these different creators create. I could feel it. Like, oh, this is what an indie movie would do if it had $100 million budget. Like it would, instead of having to make some compromises, like when I don't know if you guys watched Legion on FX. I did. I liked it.
I did.
Oh yeah.
And once again, because they didn't have the money, they had to do a shit ton of metaphors about mental illness and stuff like that. And this felt like that, but if Legion would have had that $100 million budget and been like, nah, fuck it, turn the people in the shadows and make them disappear into a dark void, and you're like, oh, that shit hit.
It looks so cool. I just want to say, everyone who's mad that it was inspired by Hiroshima, get over it. It looked cool. I'm sorry. It looked really. It was terrifying. Like it was. I don't know if you saw. Like, Leah, did you not see that interview where he? Okay, yeah. That he probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but I think that
sometimes you get really excited and you don't think.
No, I think is I half-heartedly say he shouldn't have said that out loud, because if I had that idea, I would absolutely say it out loud.
I would tell everybody.
But like, the thing about it is like the thing that I really liked about it is that it's a huge challenge, because Marvel famously already had a big scene where people disappear. There already is a visual language of people disappearing in Marvel. How do you make it more violent and abrupt? And like, I think it's thematically rich, because it's like, in the same way that a nuclear bomb is indifferent, he was doing this indifferently. Like this was not. He was just putting people into the void. Like he was taking away people's pain in his mind by making them disappear, and just how it was really thematically rich. And like that's what I really liked about all this stuff, because when they made the void his depression and the things he was going through, they had set up this character strongly enough throughout the movie where it didn't feel like a comic book mental illness thing. It's like, no, we understand what Bob's void is. It's not, his depression and his feelings are not general craziness. It's like, we know, and I thought it was so like tragic when you see him as the void and he's doing this evil shit, and then the moment you see him in his own void, he's wearing the same clothes as he did as a kid playing with a Rubik's Cube. Like that's where I started cheering. Like, damn, like that's really heavy. Like that's damn. And I thought that the fact that he can be that like sweet and innocent looking in that scene, while we know in the real world he's floating above New York, putting everyone into a void, like that's powerful.
Yeah, extremely powerful. And I just want to say, because Rod mentioned that incredible Century fight scene, I want to ask everybody what was their favorite scene in the movie, because that one is a. I will actually, you know what, Rod? Let's jump into this in a little detail, because the way that he was whooping everybody's ass was just tremendous. Yo, he took Bucky's arm and beat him with it.
Dog.
That was
ableist.
Dog.
Not even ableist. I just want everybody. I want that. Yeah. They called Io that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier when she did it. So if she's he's ableist.
Rocket still did him the dirtiest though. Rocket took his arm like it was just a shiny fucking piece of tinfoil. Like, I'm gonna get that arm.
I just could.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
The most, yeah.
It's also,
go ahead, Rod.
It's also like he was whooping their ass, and it wasn't even a passionate ass whooping on his side.
No,
it looked like it was about 4% effort for him to do what he needed to do to them motherfuckers. And it brought back that line to me from Florence Pugh, where she's like, "So we all punch and shoot guns? Like that's all of us got the same power set?" Because I was like, he whooping y'all like y'all got the same power set. Even when Bucky tried to be like, "Okay, I'm the Avenger, I got this." He
took his jacket off like something was about to happen. That was so good.
When they retreated into the elevator, I was literally yelling, "Go, go!" Like, what are you doing?
I saw someone tweet that they're glad that Steve's not part of their team, because he would have made them stay up there and die.
Yeah, he really would have.
We can do this all day.
Steve would have had that vibranium wrapped around his neck, being like, we can still do. No, the fuck, man. Get the fuck out of there.
Oh, Jesus, what a scene, man. I was like, I remember John Walker after the fact, he was like, he folded my shit up into a taco.
Bro, he kept that shit on his leg the rest of the fight, bent like that, dude. I'm like, you should humble yourself and ask him to at least unbend the shit for you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, shout out to him. And look, like you were saying before, he wasn't even trying that hard, because he threw Red Guardian out the window, and he was like, "Oh no, I ain't trying to kill you. Let me just bring you back right back."
Dog, they missed the line right there. They should have had Red Guardian be like, "No, please let me go. Like, let me squabble out the window. Fuck it."
Oh man, what a scene! That was some of the most comic booky, making this really powerful person look the part. This is what it looks like, where you can't do shit with.
And Valentina, like, like my favorite thing about that scene is still the core of like who Bob is. Mm-hmm. I did not feel like he's an evil person. I did not feel like, oh, now he's gonna become like this evil person that's gonna like like he wasn't Homelander to me.
Yeah,
I was like, no, he's not gonna kill them, because he wouldn't do something like that to some people that were his friends 5 hours ago or whatever the fuck.
Right. And
he's not gonna do Valentina's bidding either, because she's an evil, blatant, nakedly evil person. It will not. You can be an amnesiac. It will not take you 5 minutes to be like, whatever the shit you're saying is definitely bad. But his mania definitely made him think, I'm going to be the symbol and the hero of the world. and that's what was driving him. And so anyway, they did all that while also making that cool ass scene.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. Leah, what was that your favorite scene in the movie? What was actually your favorite scene of the movie?
I think it might have been because I liked so much how Yelena was doing a very Captain America Winter Soldier thing where she was fighting to try to stop the fight.
Yeah.
I always like that. My favorite moment is a couple scenes before that when Bucky has them tied up and reveals to the group that John Walker's wife and kid left him.
Yeah.
And he has this like really silent exchange with Florence Pugh where he just kind of gives her like, yeah, it is what it is kind of face, and there's no dialogue. It's
And
just
she just
acting.
looks at him.
It's so good.
Yeah. No. That a lot of little moments like that.
Yeah.
Which
Louis
which
Pullman
make
has some too. When he's in their memories and he just gives them like a, oh damn. Your life is rough, kind of.
that Bob scene is also hilarious. That where they're tied up and right like the John Walker thing happens, but also like they're like it's Bob and like Bucky's on the phone like Bob. They're
And
like Bob. He's like, okay, all right, that was funny as shit.
Yeah, I feel like my favorite scene in the movie was after they lose the fight when they all save the civilians. Because I feel like that's something we don't get enough in these movies. We forget that these movies are not just about superheroes and supervillains; they're about people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is where it's so thematically important because, like, these obviously are people who are capable of doing that, and they all don't hesitate to do it. Like
heroes being heroes,
and not accidentally. It is in front of Grand Central Station where the iconic Avengers shot is. It's the exact same place.
Exactly.
Yeah, we saw Red Guardian do the Cap Widow thing with Yelena.
And it looked really cool. It was really like I liked that. Like it didn't require a big dramatic thing of like, oh my god, are we going to be heroes? It's like no, they all none of them conceive themselves as bad people, and so it was not that hard for them to do that. And it just was like a really cool moment, and it was a really, it is kind of like what the movie's leading up to, like for these characters, and it was just really, I like the way they used their different power sets and how they all came together. And yeah, obviously the way it ends with Red Guardian is one of the most powerful moments in the movie, I think, where he saves the little girl and then she's gone. Like that shit was crazy. And yeah, I thought that was just like so, especially because the thing that happens before the conversation between Yelena and Alexei, I think is really wonderful because she's really lost and he's trying his best, and like once again, like I like that. The way that he gets through her basically is not by saying like, "Oh, you need to be good." That's the way he gets through her saying like, "You always were good. Like there always was a part of you that made you good. Like you can run from it or push it down, but like there is an innate goodness in you." And I think that's a much more compelling narrative to me than like a person who was bad decides to be good. It's like no, like you were good, and you don't let the tragedies that affected your life and some of the mistakes you made. That doesn't invalidate the fact that you wanted to be godly. I thought that was really nice. Yeah, I mean, I like the nice stuff in this movie because I think it balances out. Like, I like that it thematically is really dark, but isn't afraid of making the cathartic moments sincere. Like it doesn't lean into like it's not cynical about that stuff because ultimately, like, I don't know, in my own experience, it's not always this simple, but any sort of like every mental health thing that I think we go through is made better when we're not alone. Like I think that's like a thing that sounds corny and trite, but like that is true. Like Bob's problems aren't solved by him being a member of the Thunderbolts, but it definitely it's a lot easier for him to deal with that stuff if he knows that people care about him. And I like that's a message that is effective and it's true, I think.
Yeah, the lead, I would even say like the lead into Yelena and Alexei's conversation where they're arguing. It reminded me of Guardians 3 when it was Drax, Mantis, and Nebula having that argument on the spaceship, and it was just like it just felt like something that friends would do when they're either just mad at the situation that happened or just as a very human thing to just be frustrated. And Yelena showing that frustration in that moment and kind of giving it to everybody was kind of cool because then she goes, "I suck too." That was such a I really like that scene, and so that it continues on into the conversation with Alexi, and I just like how that kind of balanced it out. And
That's what
man, I mean,
happens. If you have
mhm.
siblings, that's what happened when y'all get punished together. Like that's what happened. Y'all gotta fight it out and then bring it back together at the end because y'all ain't got nobody but each other. But that's what they was like frustrated because they just got that ass whooping. Like it was like the way he had them
He was
feeling like
whooping that
hopeless.
boy.
I was like, yeah, man. When they got in that elevator, I'm like, y'all might want to get downstairs and just give it up. Like, y'all need to regroup. I don't know if y'all are the guys for this job. This man, y'all got to call a couple Hulks in, dog. It was getting real serious in there.
Oh my goodness.
And for the
Um,
record, that's
yeah,
not my favorite scene. That fight. My favorite scene is actually
yeah.
the depression scene where they're saying I'm here for you, and he's fighting the void, thinking he can beat it with like violence and sheer willpower, and it's like
That was tear up scene.
hell
Yeah.
yeah, dog. I
Okay,
was
that's fair enough.
gone, bro.
Yeah, okay, I cried.
I was
That's
gone. Yeah,
tears are
I
enough.
was gone. I was like, fuck it. I guess I'm crying in the Marvel movie again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
It's been a while.
that was
Hello,
a
Not the
tear
first,
scene
won't be the
darkness.
for sure.
last.
Yeah, and but you know what? It was so good, corny. It's the good corny. It's Groot going, I love you guys. Like it's that
Mhm.
level of
Yeah.
corny, but it's that level of corny and it worked. And then the other scene that we didn't mention, that I have to mention too, is
Oh
the
yeah,
first
please.
fight in the death trap where they all were
Oh, that was
targeting each
great.
other. I love a good Marvel fight that you need to understand the
The
different
what's
aims of
going
each
on.
character and
Yeah.
how it comes out in the scene.
Right.
That was cool as hell.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I liked the idea. Like, it's such a simple concept, but I liked the whole thing of that. The audience obviously knows what's going on before everyone else does. That they're all sent there to kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that they are all figuring that out. Like, it's a really cool way to get them all together. Um, Even if one of them isn't long for this world.
Which that was why I'm glad that you mentioned it, Rod,
Yeah.
because I've been waiting to get this portion off here. All right. So like throughout the marketing of this movie, we noticed oh, Taskmaster's in the movie. So you know we see what happens. So like we see Taskmaster in the trailer, and then as the movie gets closer and closer, it seems like Taskmaster is edited out of a lot of the things. And then of course you get the Avengers cast announcement. They announce all the Thunderbolts. They don't announce no Taskmaster. So then you're all of a sudden thinking that good old Tasky's getting ousted. And let me tell you, unceremoniously,
Dog.
quick headshot, and that's that.
To the
And
point where I
I'm
kept
just
expecting the
yeah.
character to come back. Like that's how it was done so cold. I was like, no, that's obviously a way to throw me off the scent. We'll see you in the
Yeah.
third act, Taskmaster. No, I was wrong.
No, just done. And I have to say this because this is the thing about comic book adaptation that is something that I, throughout my years, have had to learn to grapple with. Because famously, and people who've been listening for the longest time, just remember Iron Man 3 and my little battle with the whole Mandarin thing and Trevor Slattery. What they do with comic book characters do make me feel a little bit of a way, even though I've gotten better about it in the years as we've gone on. This was one of those instances where I'm like, yo, if you're gonna do this, then why bring Taskmaster into the shit in the first place
Mhm.
in Black Widow and then make it a character that don't really say nothing, is just kind of like this robotic person, and it just makes me feel like they it fit whatever narrative that they wanted to tell with the Red Room at the time. So it was just easy for having somebody for Natasha to fight in that movie and to get to the end of that portion. So then they probably just didn't know what to do with the character after that because, again, this was a character who didn't have a lot of lines or a character who didn't say much, which is the complete antithesis of what the Taskmaster character is in the books. So bringing Taskmaster here and then just unceremoniously getting off, it does bother me. It does. It does. Now, understanding that they do think somebody had to die because I guess like just for sake of the story, in that when you have a whole bunch of assassins fighting each other,
I
then
actually don't think that that's
allegedly.
true. I don't think that that's true. I think
No,
that
well, they felt like it
no,
was true.
what I think happened probably is that they, on
Uh-huh.
some level, got to a place in the script where they had Taskmaster there, and then they made a decision at the last second. I think the mistake they made, like beyond the stuff with the comics, I just don't think you bring Taskmaster into this movie at all if you don't have anything for them to do.
Yes.
Like I don't mind the Taskmaster. Like if they want to cut bait on Taskmaster, I never mind that. Like I understand that Taskmaster is a character in the comics, but I'm of the opinion that like if you blow it in a movie and no one cares, then like I would rather you, you
Mm-hmm.
know, make not. I don't need you to chase your tail and to try to keep fixing things that doesn't work, right?
Right.
And so like, but like if they made the decision that they don't have the room in the script to rehabilitate Taskmaster as a character as well, just don't put Taskmaster in the movie. Now, ultimately, I will say this:
Yes.
within 2 minutes of Taskmaster dying, I didn't care. Like that, I actually like that's the thing.
Well, yeah.
Like the characters on screen were compelling enough. We're just like they did Taskmaster dirty, but at no point in the movie was I like, damn, they really did Taskmaster dirty. Like I forgot the Taskmaster died shortly after she died.
Yes, it did not take long for it to be a thing. But you, Rod, what did you think about the whole thing?
One, I
Just
think I
generally
need to
speaking.
come out with some merch that says "Justice for Taskmaster." I think
I'd
that's a
buy it.
T-shirt that's gonna go numbers. I need to get an artist to
Yes.
draw that mask with a bullet hole through it. But be looking out for that, guys. I'll be sharing it on my social media when I come out with
Yes.
that. Um,
I'm supporting you 100%.
Brave New World should have killed the leader. Clearly that's where they fucked up. Like, if you're gonna bring back one of these characters that we're really not like seated for anyway, and I know the
Yeah.
leader is a comic book like bigger character in the comic books, but like no one was like precious about that Hulk movie. So like if you brought the leader back 20 years later, kill him. You know, like go ahead and end his shit the way you ended Taskmaster. We
Well,
don't
especially if you're gonna make him look so stupid.
right.
Okay. Sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. Did you see the initial look that they had for the leader?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looked fucking accurate.
Yep.
Why are you changing it to this deformed thing? You
Right.
got the big head. You got him green. Just use it.
And if you're not
I
going to
I
kill
don't
him, just
understand.
kill him.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, fair
Make
point.
I'm okay with fake stakes. Kill a motherfucker just to make us be like, oh, they be killing people. And then the last thing is, you guys are making me
Yes.
think what could have happened. Jake has his theory. You have your theory. I have a theory
Yeah,
on what
what's up?
happened with Taskmaster.
Talk to me.
I think Jonathan Majors was supposed to play Taskmaster. And that probably threw a loop in their plans for the movie. There was gonna be like another Kang variant. The mask would come off after the credits, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, Kang is everywhere." He even created the new Avengers so he could like do something in the future that we don't understand yet in another timeline. But once he did what he did, they was like, "Yeah, just kill that person in a mask," and I think that's what happened.
You're gonna get me to the point where I want to get to it, but I'm gonna hold off a little bit longer because I do want to talk about some of the other characters in the movie. Obviously Val plays such a big role in everything that happens, and she's kind of like the fulcrum of what everybody is, what everybody's doing, and what they're involved with. She's being impeached because she's doing some very secret, nasty things with the Sentry Project and all of those things. Shout out to my guy Wendell Pierce doing double duty this year in a Marvel movie and a DC movie. Salute to you. Get your check, brother. That's tremendous stuff. And then of course Bucky and his half a term as a congressman. He just couldn't stay away from them fights. Shout out to that. But Jake, what did you think of JLD's Val in this movie?
I thought that she was. I think that she was really. I mean, she's so entertaining, and I think the thing that she was able to pull off was like she actually like in the scenes with Bob, like she was like evil, like not like comedy evil.
Yeah.
Like the way that she was manipulating him is like fucked up.
Yeah, I
And
believe in you.
and
Yeah,
and I think that the scene that she has with Mel, where she says, "What is it like? Righteousness without power is just a suggestion or just an opinion."
just an opinion. Yeah,
Woo, buddy,
That's a
that's
bar.
good line.
That's a
and like
bar.
and she's. I think that the thing about her is that she is not a powerful person in herself, and so like that you need a lot of acting to overcome that. And I think that like the thing that's so is that so scary about her, and also think what makes her such a compelling villain to me, is how adaptable she is. That she
Yes.
comes up with the plan of doing the new Avengers in like 5 minutes. That she's unbeatable in a lot of ways because she
Yeah.
will turn any L into a W for herself in a way that like is because the fact that she's not ideologically committed to anything makes her super dangerous because she's willing to she'll destroy the whole Sentry program. Oh, but she learns one's still alive, she'll drop everything to make that work. Bob's not going to be he's evil. All right, whatever. I'll turn these misfits into new Avengers that I control. Like I think that like that is so interesting, and I like the fact that they give her an assistant character to basically manipulate.
Oh yeah, you're very fond of her,
I
aren't
mean,
you?
I mean, I've had a crush on Geraldine Viswanathan since Blockers. This is a thing that's a known fact. I'm very excited that she's in the movie. I remember that this character was originally supposed to be Iowa Debris, but she had to drop out. And I'm excited that Geraldine is getting this role. Obviously, there's some suggestion that she's going to be more important in the future, given a necklace that she's wearing in the movie.
Yes, that is
But
right.
I like that dynamic because it's like, yeah, like this is this is not what real evil looks like because there's no such thing as the Ox Corporation in real life making the Sentry program, but like
Yeah.
she's like a pretty bog standard evil person who like she doesn't like I said she doesn't have a big ideological goal. Her goal is
No,
basically just to wherever the power center is in the universe, she
she's got to
wants to be
be there,
controlling it.
like a real Republican.
Yeah.
Don't matter where it's at, I gotta be there. I gotta soak all that power up one way or another, and I just come up with some shit to say on the fly, just that looks good, and it don't matter what the narrative is. It's just gonna be my narrative at that time. It's just really fun stuff from Val there. And all right, so in terms of where we are as we get to
Oh wait,
the
hold
end, and
on. I
Jake,
want to say she also was. I liked her. I thought the character was funny. I also like that
yeah,
she's unapologetically evil. Like
yes,
like they weren't
Oh.
doing a lot of like this is her sad origin story or this is why
I mean, she
has to
does
be.
have a sad origin story, but I did like that it
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, they actually give
but I
the
mean the
the
movie's not
void
about
part of
that.
No,
that.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, wait, before Leah's back, do you
Okay.
have any takes on Taskmaster?
I sure don't. So this was a
Okay.
great time for my laptop to give up on life completely.
I was waiting for you to get back because I was saying that they should not have brought her back at all. But if you were here, I would have said they should have sent her to Mandeville. But no one here was going to get that joke. So
Oh,
Like-
two Americas.
no, that's honestly not too America's. That's just to have watched The West Wing.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a character in The West Wing that
I
is a
never-
main
yeah.
character in the first season, and the first season ends on a cliffhanger, and the second season picks up that same day, and she's just not there anymore. They just
She's
wrote her off the
not
show
there.
without explaining it. It's wonderful.
Oh, good. Oh, goodness. Leah, do you have any thoughts on Val and what you saw from her in this movie?
Yeah, it was nice to see her come into her full power as evil Nick Fury.
Mhm.
I really do. We want to talk about Mel here too?
Yeah. By the way, I forgot to do my normal thing whenever I reference a movie I have on Blu-ray.
Hey
Shout out
now,
to Blockers.
Blockers.
No, there you go.
Also, shout out to the Broken Hearts Club, another great rom com.
I never saw that. She's also great. I mean, Driveway Dolls is great.
Mm-hmm.
Also, did you see the thing? The thing I really appreciated is because obviously there's been a lot of consternation about the fact that Stephen Ewan was supposed to be Sentry
Yes.
and
Yes.
Io was supposed to be Mel.
You're good.
I think I really thought was funny is that I was watching an interview with Geraldine where they asked about it. And I'm like, that seems a bit rude. You're not really supposed to ask about that.
Yeah.
But what actually the thing is, the reason they asked is apparently her and Io are really good friends to the point where when the pandemic hit, she lived in Io's apartment for like 6 months. And
Oh,
so Io was the one who told her to take the role when Io couldn't do it. So shouts, that made me feel good. Where it's like,
Oh, that's cool.
that she's like,
That's a nice
that she
story,
asked her
yeah.
like, hey, they offered me the role, and she's like, oh, you have to do it. I loved it. So shouts to Io, my old personal friend.
But yeah, Val, always a delight to see Julia Drive. She's a good centering. I don't know. Is she? Does she look nurturing or whatever she said in that one?
Well, I mean, the way that she was talking to Sentry,
Yeah.
to Bob, kind of got him on board with the whole idea of doing the all powerful God thing.
And you could tell she's probably had a very similar conversation with and been that person for Yelena and John Walker and Taskmaster Rip
Mhm.
and Ava.
Yeah.
She's definitely made all of them feel like they are alone and have nothing better to do than kill for her, etc.
Can we talk about Ava, by the way? Because I feel like Ava, I was hesitant for her to be. I'm like, does she have much of a character? Hannah John came and shouts to you. She was really good.
I mean, she's so charming.
What I love is she was
Doesn't have as
efficient. Where
much
she
to do.
fit, she got in where she fit in.
And the thing
That's
about her,
what
which I
love.
liked, is that she, with a character like hers, where she doesn't really have a ton of I think a problem with her in coming into this movie is that so much of her, what we've seen of her, is in like a before state where we know that like after she figures out her shit, she's gonna be kind of have a different vibe, right? And so we haven't seen her as just like not in pain all the time with her body getting ripped apart. And so I thought it was really cool how efficient she was at establishing what type of character she was. We get her. Like, I get exactly who she is. That she is, like, very much, like, super cynical. Like, the only thing is she's kind of what Yelena thinks that she is. Like, she's Yelena without the squishy center. And I really like, in the banter, like, I like also heard that how her and Yelena almost immediately are, like, cracking jokes at John Walker's expense, you know, with the cactus fruit or whatever, you know, shouts to that. Also, I do love in that moment where the bit where as they're going up, the cutting away, you hear them talking about Dr. Phil. It's like, no, that show's not on anymore. You're probably watching on YouTube or something.
I like I think she was funny, and I also like that it wasn't like she was trying to help fix these people's lives. Like she had she had her own motivations the whole time. Like it was like, how do we get out of this? And also like she kind of seemed a little bit excited about the glory of being a hero too. Like it wasn't lost on me that she was kind of with the whole new Avengers thing. And back to Julia Louis-Dreyfus real quick. I like that that type of white woman evil is not put on screen often. Where it's not like, well, she has to be to get ahead of this sexism. It was like, no, she just fucked up. She don't really care about nobody except getting power. And she's she's gone.
Leah's laptop is Sentry versus the new Avengers is the new Leah's laptop against.
I feel like I'm getting flashback to my own issues back in the day.
It's the void over there. But yeah, she I like that she's unrepentantly like bad, and that and it's the kind of bad that I think most of us believe certain politicians are, where like on camera they'll say something, but I expect them to be behind the scenes legitimately just blatantly like not being confused, but being like, no, I don't like, I expect certain, like, I bet you if we could like wire certain offices, there would be people that are like, I don't actually hate trans people, but I think I can keep getting elected if I say I do. That kind of evil. You know, so I appreciated her being an evil character I didn't need to root for. And when she outfoxed him at the end with that press conference, I was genuinely surprised. Like, because I thought there was going to be like a funny reveal. Like, she goes through this like this cover or whatever, turns around and maybe she's like trying to run in heels, or she's got her heels off and she's like sprinting. And I'll be like, oh, I guess that was funny. That's why you get a comedian. The press conference thing genuinely surprised me. And like, I had a moment of like, kill this. Oh, wait. What the fuck do you do? Because you're not heroes if you kill her in front of the media, obviously just undoing every single thing you've done. But also, like, why would you work with her? You clearly can't trust her. And then Elena comes over like, we got you. Like, basically, we got you now. Like, we run your ass. And I was like, okay, that's this happy medium that I would like. I'm now intrigued to see where that heads.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, and just like, and I know we were about to talk about it too, just so I want to make sure we get all the characters. Shouts to Bucky. Shouts to him trying to be a
salute to Bucky, man. Sebastian Stan.
Just a really bad congressman. I mean, the gerontocracy is bad enough. Now we're electing people in their hundreds for the first term. What are we doing? I love too, like how I love how in both the first scene with Mel and the scene with Wendell Pierce, they're kind of like, he's talking like a spy movie. Also, I don't know if you saw, there's discourse. People are mad that people are shipping Bucky and Mel. And then I saw that Geraldine Viswanathan posted to TikTok her singing Bedcam about Bucky, so she's on board. So that's good. It's not Age Gap April anymore, but anyway.
And the age gap they made abundantly clear in the movie.
I know they did.
Really underlined it.
Yeah.
But also, he wasn't not flirting.
No,
so.
The thing is, it is what it is. I mean, it's not good, but it's not devoured the Twilight movies. I mean,
in a world where Shannon Sharp can still be employed, I feel like the bar has moved a lot higher than Bucky and Mel.
Yeah, at least she's not his niece.
Right.
No. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Being
man.
frozen in ice has caused a lot of age gap issues in this series already. Let's not act like
Right.
But I
Yes.
really like that he's really lost, but he's not like. I remember someone was like, I saw someone kind of being like, I didn't like how we didn't see everyone else's like trauma rooms or whatever. And a good point someone made is like, we've had 2 movies and a TV show of Bucky's trauma.
Yeah.
Like, we got it.
Yeah,
And
he's
kind of
I think
okay.
he's come to a place where I think he has accepted his circumstances.
Yeah.
And is trying to deal with it.
Also,
as best
that
as he
line was the way to like, my life's been pretty normal. I didn't see anything bad. I love that.
He gets to be the mentor in this. He gets to be like, I used to be a secondary character that was a little bit evil and a villain, and now you get to do these things.
Yep.
Though apparently there was a shame room written for him that took place at like a Boy Scout camp, and I would like to have seen that.
Yeah.
Shit.
I would just like to see that too, but at the same time, it's like we do know that we know most of his shame. Like we've seen so many of his shames. Like
We've
both
seen a lot of it.
killing the Starks. There was that one
Right.
cold open to that episode of Falcon Winter Soldier where he kills people in the hotel. Like we've seen him do a lot of shameful shit.
Where's
Yeah.
wonder where Red Guardian's room was. That's the one. 'Cause I
Probably.
feel like he's so happy whatever his shit is fucked up.
Yeah, I think that
He's the man that don't let himself access nothing, no negative emotions. So he's seen some shit, bro.
I would have
can
liked to
imagine.
see that only because I think that like an interesting part of that character is that, and they kind of gloss over it for reasons I think are understandable. That like, whereas Captain America, the real Captain America, was only like a tool of the American government during World War II, and then he died, right? But the Red Guardian was a tool of the Soviet Union and was like at their bidding.
Yep.
And like, he's definitely done some shit in that he can't reconcile now.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a very interesting thing because clearly, on some level, I mean, he lives right outside of DC, 1 block away. One block away out of Baltimore. Clearly, he's not. He has some regrets over stuff he did. So I'd be interested. Like, did he like put dissidents in gulags or whatever? Like, that's not something that they be.
And they've thrown him, and his government also kind of threw him away. Like they were like, okay, you're not Steve Rogers. Bye.
And clearly, his rah shit is a cover for that. Like, I don't think that the movie doesn't expect you to believe that he actually is that chipper about it. But I actually wouldn't. I wouldn't have minded because with John Walker, we see what his trauma is. Ghost, we know what it is. Like, I actually don't really know what Alexi's trauma is.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe it's that girl shitting on the soccer field.
That's too real. Honestly, that's too real.
Tires. Yeah.
That was such a great story.
My roommate Rachel, who you guys know, suggested that Bucky's shame would be him killing JFK, and I said, Rachel, he didn't know who that man was.
No,
didn't understand the significance of that. He was unfrozen and refrozen within a day.
Yeah.
What if it is something weird, like he accidentally said a woman was pregnant that had gained weight?
Yeah, probably. It probably is.
Like we find out he's a true sociopath. He's like, killing all them people. No, that's light work, dog. That's not even me. But one time I told my 12th grade teacher that.
God.
Oh goodness!
But I mean, of course, he didn't actually kill JFK because, as we know from X-Men: Days of Future Past,
yeah, it was Magneto. Trust me, I know.
I think about that all the time. That they just throw that in, and that's not what the movie's about.
Yeah, that's some Spike Lee shit.
Time. Oh man, but all right. So we get, as we were talking about Val earlier, we get the new Avengers announcement, which closes the movie and has now played into the marketing. Jake, I want to ask you, what do you think about that from a marketing standpoint, and how they've just decided to quote unquote change the movie?
So I think obviously I would have liked them to wait a little bit to announce all this stuff. But the unfortunate thing is, a reality is, I'm sure that they just don't have the time to. With the fact that Mission Impossible is coming and is going to be taking all those posters and what have you. Like, I think it's actually a time thing that they don't really have time to. I also think that like it's not that big of a spoiler because in the actual movie, like, the movie doesn't actually present them like they're the new Avengers, if that makes sense. Like, they're still the B team by the end of the movie. You know, like the new Avengers, I think it's kind of an ironic thing. But I think it's a really cool marketing gimmick. I'm not going to start calling the movie New Avengers in the same way I don't call Edge of Tomorrow Live, Die, Repeat. It's what it's called when the movie comes to the blockbuster office is what it is. Like, that's not be stupid. But I think as a the gimmick with the Thunderbolts asterisk turning into New Avengers, it worked. I thought the Thunderbolts thing with the asterisk was dumb this entire time, but I'm like, you know what? They did it because it's. I think it is cheeky. I think the idea of like, is that what the movie's called now? I think is missing the point of it.
No, and it got people. I think the main thing is it got people talking because I love during the credits you kind of see the way that it's posted about in all of the newspapers, the New York
Avengers.
Post, hashtag not my Avengers, and all this other stuff.
Yep.
Because
Teej wrote that headline.
he sure did. He sure
Actually, no.
absolutely
You know, now
did.
think about it. John Walker is his cap. He is his cap.
Yes.
And that's not
Yeah. So
cap.
yeah. So I think it was really cool, and I think it also gave me the feeling of remembering all of the things that I've kind of talked about and wanting in these latest phases in terms of, hey, if we get an Avengers team together, they ain't gotta fight something that ends the world. They could just have like a very like small contained story to a degree. And if they actually if they use this to their advantage, you could really get mileage off of a franchise like this, especially if Florence Pugh is about this life, then I think you really got something you could cook with here. And I think the fact that Jake Schreier talked about this was always the ending to the movie. Okay, this actually makes me feel confident in what they're planning for in the future, because the new Avengers could honestly there's so many different versions of them in the books that you could really make something great out of something that can be simple. It doesn't have to be end of the universe stakes and
It also
something
feels
like that.
meta in a way where it's like people are like, "Oh, these are the characters we have left." Like,
Mhm.
I don't think I think the thing I like about it, and I think if people haven't seen the movie and are reacting to the posters, they have a different reaction. It's like the movie acknowledges that it is silly to call them the Avengers. They're not the
Yes.
Avengers. Like, and I like that a lot because that is it's like I said, it's a meta idea of it's like, are these the characters we have laying around to be the new Avengers? I really the movie, I think there's just a self awareness that this movie was made with, and not in like a
Yes.
winking way. Like this movie, Jake Schreier knew exactly what movie he was making, and so shouts to him for that. And you know what? I need to check something. I need to check if he's a real Jake or a fake Jake because I respect him more or less depending on that. He's a fake
It,
Jake. Never mind. I respect him a little less.
ooh.
Fake Jake.
He's a Jacob.
Well,
As a real Jake through and through, Jake on my birth certificate. I have respect for people who are like that.
Damn.
I hear you. I hear
Isn't
you.
that really more of a shot at his parents?
This is true. This is true. I shouldn't resent him for that. So, Mr. and Mrs. Schreier, we have Mr. and Mrs. Schreier. We have beef.
Boom.
Oh my goodness! And so obviously you have all of that, and then you get the of course the mid credit scene where Alexi is got the Wheaties box. He got
Yeah,
what he wanted,
that was cute.
and the young lady who he tries to give the Wheaties box to is freaked out. So that's a nice little goofy
He looks
credit
so
scene.
creepy with
But then
that mustache towering over that woman, making her buy
Yes.
cereal. So fucking funny and creepy. And the after credit scene, like a couple of things I liked about the whole new Avengers reveal thing.
Yeah.
One, being there before they revealed it to the public, that was awesome because it was like that's what the asterisk for. Like in my mind,
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I knew it wasn't for the Avengers aren't available. That's kind of a stretch, but that's what the new Avengers. Yeah, that's so cute. And yeah, as they said it in the film, it's obviously not. I think it's excellent for marketing. I have a friend who disagrees with me on Facebook right now, but I think it's excellent for marketing because it's gonna make people either go, I was gonna wait for this streaming, now I want to see how the sausage is made. And those of us that were like those who also wait too late, it's like, well, it was gonna get spoiled. I've already
Right.
seen headlines in stuff before they officially revealed it or whatever. I'd already seen headlines that you have to be a fucking idiot to read and not know that they mean these are the new Avengers. So like at some point it was getting spoiled. This Marvel is too big. And then also it was cute. It was like a cute, fun
Yeah.
thing. Like what's wrong with that? This movie felt like the point was to be a good, fun movie before any of the world building stuff. And they kind of went
Right.
old school with this scene where the world building actually happened after the credits. Like was like, oh, and we have other movies, and you might be interested to watch those too. This felt very old school Marvel, as opposed to like every
Yes.
scene being like, don't forget about the TV show. Hey man, did you read that book? Like, this just felt like, here's a fun movie. You either know it or you don't know the stuff. It's okay if you don't. And then after the credits, like, and Fantastic Four is coming out. All right, bye.
And this is how it fits. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is how it fits into the grand scale of things. Which, by the way, in the post credits, I did find it funny that that poor Sam Wilson is having to sue.
Oh, that's
For
so fun.
for
That's so
copyright.
fun. I love
It's
that.
great. It's something that they should absolutely play on in
Yes.
Doomsday.
I hope Matt
The
Murdock is his lawyer. Go all the way with it.
It's so great. It's so great because on one hand you got Sam Wilson, who at this point might as well be the DEI guy just put out the pasture, and then you got the new stand-in Avengers with
Including
a Z,
John Walker.
including John Walker.
It's
It
so
writes
good.
Bucky
They gotta
betrayed
do
so
it.
good. They
Well, then
gotta
that
do
means
it.
that Bucky has to hire She-Hulk.
God.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
We got
oh,
two
you
lawyers.
hit it. You
The
hit
lawyers
it. Yes.
hook up. The
That's
fucking
perfect.
case gets resolved somehow.
Yeah.
We
mean-
gotta have this.
God, it's just such a great bit. I mean, I saw people complaining like this is the dumbest thing. It's like, I could tell the Russos directed that one, as if half the post-credit scenes
Okay.
aren't
How would
directed
you
by the
know?
person who did the next movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
that's what they've always
But
done.
you
And-
didn't know it was written by Joanna Kahlo, so
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How would
And-
you
and-
know?
But
You can just look at the scene and be
Also-
like, damn, Russo's did it again, bro. Look
I
at the
saw on
angle of how he
Twitter-
talking.
right? I saw on Twitter a joke that they cut that would have been really good. So there was a similar to when John Walker's like, "What do you mean there's no space? We've got tons of space here." When the Fantastic Four ship comes up, apparently Bucky was supposed to say, "What's the number 4?" And then John Walker goes, "What's the number 4?"
It's
a good
That would be
bit.
cool.
A
Put it
detail
in
I
the
really like though
movie.
about the scene is, as we touched on it, when they're in the back of the truck, John Walker is clearly insecure about his helmet, and then when you see him 13
His
months in the
hat.
future, what is he not wearing?
Little hat.
Damn, man.
He's wearing a little hat, and it looks so dumb, but it's so you believe. Yeah, this is
Yes.
it's and I love that Bob's there. He did the dishes. He just
Yeah,
A
the Bob.
milkshake.
he has to. I mean, I do.
What are
love,
they gonna
I
do
read
with
some-
him in the future, right? Because like
I don't know.
I feel like Sentry's gonna be involved.
Yeah.
I
He's gonna have to get
legitimately
back
do not
involved
want to see
again.
this motherfucker transform. Like,
gonna
I
be-
legit
yeah, it's gonna
like
be
this
the
shit
Hulk
way
thing.
worse than the Hulk. Like with the Hulk,
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I do want to see the Hulk. Fuck it. With him, I'm like, please don't trigger this guy, guys. Please.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be so interesting because, I mean, as as Doomsday, as we know, we got the Fantastic Four, I'm guessing Sam's set of Avengers, and then we're gonna have Yelena's set of Avengers, the Wakandans, the Fox X-Men from the '90s. We got a whole
Yep.
big shebang that's about to happen.
Yeah,
Next year. So it kind of when we've been doing the Road to Doomsday episodes. The start of it was like, how do we bring this together in a way that'll interest everybody? And I gotta say, it got me there. I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I think that the thing I've said this ad nauseum, but people forget how well. Obviously, yes, they should have done more team up stuff. Like we should have seen some more team up stuff.
Oh yeah.
This
Yada
movie
yada.
should have happened 5 years ago.
It should have.
Mhm.
But I
basically.
think the thing that
But
people
that's
forget.
it's fine.
People forget how little actual groundwork there was done before Avengers Infinity War. Like it was just not set up that much. Like
Right.
the questions of how do they get all these characters together were the same questions everyone was asking before Infinity War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a little more concerned, obviously, because there's more characters and there's a little less cohesion, yada yada. But I think that I think so much of it is they're just gonna do it. Like they'll just have the characters and they'll put them together and they'll make them talk to each other. But no, I like the way that they leave these characters, and it leaves you with a grounding of okay, this is the status quo with the Avengers, and
Yes.
everything is going to revolve around that in some way. That the characters who are not if you want to bring in Thor, he's going to be these are your Avengers, and you bring
Yes.
in Sam Wilson, he's these are not not my Avengers, my high powered lawyer, he's suing on behalf. You have this as an access point, and I don't know, man. I kind of could tell once they mentioned space, I'm like, okay, I know what's happening. But like after the fucking bullshit post-credit scene where they asked the great actor Tim Blake Nelson to just say nothing for a minute.
Yeah.
Truly just say nothing.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ. To
That
say a bunch of things.
to say nothing. To say like, oh, you mean reiterating the thing that everyone who's watched even 2 seconds of Marvel in this phase knows? But to have a moment where everyone cheered because they saw fucking 4, it's like, yeah,
People
yeah,
cheered,
Marty,
that's
yeah,
the
Marty.
main thing.
These are roller coasters. I
All
love you,
you
Marty, but these are
need-
roller coasters.
All you need is a logo. All you
Yeah.
need is Thor's hammer in the desert. All you need is Captain Marvel's beeper going off. Like, that is
Yes.
all you need. A logo to something tangible that's coming, not Charlize Theron walking into the street.
Oh man, love
Oh, man.
God. That's just
Shout out to the
Wow.
Russos. They figured it
Yeah.
out.
yeah. I think that there's
This is
like
the thing they can do.
there's a lot of revisionist history about the Russos, and the thing about the Russo brothers is
Mhm.
anytime that they are not the main creative voice on something, they're very good at what they do. Like they as I've said a million times, before
like
they even
George
touched the
Lucas.
MCU, they were the lead directors of probably the 2 most inventive comedies of the 2000s, Arrested Development and Community. That they invented that whole style, the Community, like with like the genre bending, yada yada. And then they made a bunch of Marvel movies. And since then, they've had people who say, like, your ideas are good and we should do your ideas. And that's a mistake. But presumably, Kevin Feige is not letting them do their ideas in this. And he's just going to let them do their superpower, which is having a lot of people in rooms together be charming together. That is what they're so good at. That's the thing that ties all their shit together.
Yes.
Is like the magic of Community, my favorite show of all time, is that it is a show where it's 7 people around a table, and that is as captivating and funny as anything you've ever seen.
Yep.
And that's why Infinity War works, because they can have Thor on the ship with the Guardians, all those characters in a room, and you get their dynamics, they have fun things going on. And so it's like, am I worried about how they're going to, like, no, like, clearly, even in this post-credit scene, was it the exact same tone as the movie? No. But they have a handle on how to make these characters charming with each other. So
Right. And they continue. Just something like simple as like a Bucky whispering to Yelena what to ask for with the whole satellite there.
Yeah.
That was cool, man. I just love that. Walker being still a jackass, but also even an even more endearing jackass at this point. And Bob sitting in the corner just chilling. And then of course Alexei being Alexei. Shout out to David Harbour for knowing his role and just cooking
it's
with
so
it.
funny that he's like the most like waspy, classically trained actor, and this is the roles he plays. Like, AC, where do you think David Harbour is from? Think about all the mustachy roles he plays and like the big galoots he plays. Answer: he is from Greenwich, Connecticut, one of the richest places in the United States of America.
Unbelievable.
Like, he's like a Northwestern grad from, and this is his career. It's just so funny how being big in Hollywood is so rare that if you're over 6'3", you get pigeonholed into being like muscly guys, even if you're a fucking theater guy, experimental theater guy from Connecticut.
Well, what's funny is he doesn't really even play like muscle guys. He just plays big, beefy guys.
Yeah,
like
he plays glutes.
like they're comically. They're barrel chested, you know what I mean? Like even when he's the dude in Stranger Things, it's like he's such like he's an out of shape barrel chested guy that'll just go round for round with you. I love that about his character, and this character Alexei feels the same way. Like he doesn't feel like Captain America Russia. He feels like big beefy barrel chested guy. Yeah.
I just gotta say that what an incredible movie. Kind of it just gave us something that I think was just so positive and kind of gave a nice little jump off point to what's about to be a very big moment for Marvel in this next year and change as we go from Fantastic Four to Doomsday to Spider-Man to Secret Wars. Like, that's a murderer's row of big time movies. So now we've kind of gotten a little bit of our setup, and now we get to see what happens with the Fantastic Four. But I think Thunderbolts was just a wonderful stepping off point. Before we go, Leah, do you have any final thoughts on just this movie generally and kind of like where everything I guess is headed, and kind of where I think for me, like Thunderbolts is kind of a sign where there's still a way to do these movies well. Yeah. They just gotta allow people to do these movies.
Is there an Untitled in that lineup that we haven't
afterwards in
about?
2027?
After, okay. Yeah.
So I think that movie. So the 2026, I could say this. The 2026, okay. There was supposed to be another movie, but they took that off the board for now.
Right, and that was probably. I don't know. I
Because I know, like they're not doing the new X-Men till after
right.
Secret Wars is done, and a lot of people were hoping that it would be the Blade movie, but
It's not
Come on,
that has
man.
been shelved for the
At this point, though,
quote unquote the foreseeable future.
honestly, at this point,
Yeah.
they need to drop that shit like a Beyonce album. They need to have a surprise movie drop. I don't think that's ever happened before in the
That'd
history
be
of
fun.
Hollywood. But we need to just
Yeah.
wake up one morning and be like, "Yo, Blade came out at midnight on Wednesday. What
Like
the
that,
fuck?"
no, what was the movie that dropped on Netflix after the Super
The
Bowl?
Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
need to do that with Blade on Disney Plus, straight to Disney Plus.
I would love Shang-Chi too. I mean, I feel
Me
like that's
too.
been overdue.
Yes.
I
And
guess
way
since he's
overdue.
gonna
Doctor
be,
Strange 3,
since
by the
he's
way.
gonna be,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying that as an endorsement. I'm saying that that's my guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
my thoughts on Thunderbolts. How wonderful it has been to see people watch the same movie that I watched
Yeah,
That's a great
in
point.
the
That's a
Marvel
great point.
Cinematic Universe.
Yes.
Because there have been plenty of post-Endgame movies that I have disliked and plenty that I have liked. I typically don't align with everybody else.
Mhm.
So it's been really nice to agree with people. I wish this good whispering of that created good press could have happened with the Marvels instead of throwing it under the bus spectacularly.
I get
I know a podcast that did
Couldn't
its
we have
part.
just pretended?
Mm.
Because to me, this movie and the Marvels are on the same level.
Mhm.
Not everyone will agree with me, but
No, I'm
to
with
me
you,
they
though.
are.
I
Leah,
enjoyed the shit
you'd
out
be
of that
safe to
movie.
say I would agree.
It's a
The
movie.
Marvels was very. I mean, we were on together.
Yeah,
We talked
exactly.
about it. In full. So
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
very excited. I'm really excited about Fantastic Four.
Mhm.
I like them. I like the 60s nostalgia vibe in
Mhm.
general in films. I think that tease was great because we don't know why the ship's there. We don't know who's in it. It might
Right.
not be all of them. We know they're all in Doomsday, but yeah. I feel good.
The marketing, I would say, of Fantastic Four is very very good.
Yes.
I mean,
Even
I
more
went to
confident
my
than
IMAX
this.
screening and they did the
Yep.
whole countdown thing.
So cool looking.
So that was pretty cool too. So like they've been really cooking with that. You know, they got the cards out now too. All of that stuff. Every Sunday, Marvel Studios' account will post the dinner time
the
at
dinner
7 o'clock. Like just like little stuff like that. They're getting back to the stuff that's like, let's make people want to go see these movies, and I think that's so important. It's small, but it matters. It really does. It really and I mean, to your point, Leah, I think that I'm glad you said that, and I really hope that they don't do the same thing because there is a Marvel show that is coming out in about a month, and it would be nice if I heard some stuff about it. It'd be nice, if you let me know a little bit about it, and it just happens to be about a black woman and trying to be a superhero, and it'd be nice if we heard about it. And this isn't the first time that I've said this. I've been online about this. It's like, yo, come on already.
And it's not possible that, I don't know, the last time they did this about a Disney Plus series, it also was about a woman of color. That hasn't happened before, has it?
Then they're gonna drop it all at once on one day.
Oh God.
Yes. So I mean, that's a big thing as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Rod, do you have any final thoughts?
I always do. You know that. I'll try to run through them fast.
Yes, sir.
I think Bob, if they have Bob transform again, it should be like Doom smacks him down somehow. Like, I don't want to see that man live long in that void depression shit where they got to go get him. That just feels like too much to have happen again. And not just because it also kind of defeats the purpose of the character to just reduce him to like a cool power set. Like, oh, but he's Superman. Like, yeah, we got it, man. But it fucks him up bad. I don't want to see that. Music was actually really dope in this film. And I love the way that they tied in scores to thematic things. So like Fantastic Four score comes in a little bit when you see that the Avengers theme that comes in at times when they're fighting in front of the and saving all those people. Like that shit was really smart and really well done. I love that people say Suicide Squad, but I'd say Guardians of the Galaxy in that this felt like a James Gunn movie. Like
Yes.
the way that they showed empathy and gave characters like real grounded moments that made them like emotionally resonant and not just like, here's where her power set is. Um, I love that this answered the meta question that has been hanging over the Marvel universe for 3 or 4 years now, which is like, what about the Avengers? Like,
Yeah.
it's a huge gap beyond just like being depressing. Like
Mhm.
it's not just a question to ask for the next phase of like what are they gonna do, but kind of like they made it a real question, and like people would be looking for
Yeah.
heroes, and
Right.
they
And
would
they never
like,
formally broke up. Like,
yeah. Like, so it was kind of like
it
cool
was
to
just
see
normal.
that happen, and like how Julia Louis Dreyfus's character, Dave Fontaine, how she like used that void to manipulate public will to her. So it also on a meta level lines up with stardom, right? Because like Florence Pugh's a star. They found a star again. Like it's been a
Mhm.
minute. Not that these other people can't be good in movies, but it's just different between like a movie star and like, oh, you're really good in this role. She's a movie star, and so they got to do whatever they
Mhm.
can to lock her down. Because like I like Anthony Mackie, but he not a star like that. He just don't got it
No.
like that, and it's it's not his fault. I find him to be very funny and good in certain roles. It's just, bro, I look at you, I'm not like, and everybody need to line up behind him and go fight. Nah, I don't, you don't got it. You on the left. Um, and it accomplished being a good movie first and foremost before being like a world building thing, and I just think that mattered a lot. And the last thing I had was I love
Yes.
that they wrote everything like the audience either knows all this nerdy shit and they watched every series and they
Mhm.
just like they're deep in the weeds, so you don't have to explain it, or it just doesn't really fucking matter that much. Like
It doesn't
there's
matter.
just so many things where like they could have done a like cute little nod to like, and if you want to see more of that, check out check out Falcon
Yeah.
and the Winter Soldier. Like they didn't even do that. There's like, listen,
Yeah.
it's enough to know that this guy's an asshole in every scene and his family
Yeah.
left him. We don't need to tell you more about this. Like every time he's in a room full of ladies, he gets his ass kicked. We don't even need to show you that happened
Mhm.
before. It's just a thing, guys. Trust us. And it worked on those levels. So those are my last thoughts.
They really did
Wonderful.
trust
And
the audience, which was great after Brave New World, the least trusting audience movie I've ever
Dog.
seen.
oh
Yes.
my
So
god.
let's explain what we're doing and why
Right.
Yeah.
three
They
times in
did
every
that.
scene.
The fact that they changed 5 million things in that movie that probably didn't need to be
Noted to
changed.
death, yeah.
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 I mean, goodness gracious, that's a great example. Great point,
Bring
Leah.
up Malcolm Spellman again. I know he didn't write
Oh
that
my
dialogue.
god,
I
I'm
know
tired of
he
him.
didn't write that dialogue.
I'm so tired of him. I don't want to hear about him no more. Oh, Jake, do you have any
Of
final
course.
thoughts?
I think
Yes.
that I thought the action in this movie was really, really good, which surprised me given that, there's another case where Marvel's had a lot of success with this, getting a guy who has no action background to do it. But they clearly had an idea and they were bragging about it a lot that like they did so much in camera. And that's usually like thing that they say. And honestly, you really can tell, especially in like the chase scene with like the cars and shit, like you can tell that shit wasn't green screened. Like it really felt like it felt as tactile as any Marvel movie in a very long time. Like, because a lot of the stuff that they could have green screen, they didn't. And I think that makes a huge difference, especially when you're talking about characters that don't have crazy high power sets. That, like, I think it matters that a car flipping feels like a car flipping when it's Yelena who is not super strong in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you need it to feel real. I also think Jake Schreier, definitely a huge fan of The Wire, given that the two like side roles he cast Bunk Moreland and Frank Sabaka. So
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Chris Bauer.
shout out to
Yeah.
Chris Boutman. That's, I mean, who is okay? So in The Wire, who do we got? We got in the MCU, we got obviously Stringer Bell. We got
Yes.
Avon Barksdale. Plays the
Yes.
cop in Ant-Man. We got Chris Bauer. We got Frank Sabaka. We got Bunk. Who else? We got to get some more in there. I feel like
I
we can
mean,
get Pablo Schreiber in there pretty easily. I mean, but yeah, shout
Wait,
out
did you
to
mention Michael B. Jordan?
oh, of course,
oh
Wallace. Of
yeah,
course,
yeah, yeah,
Wallace.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Where's Wallace?
yeah, that was great. Yeah, it just was a really like I don't know. I feel like even saying like it's a throwback to a Phase One movie because like that feels like almost like a backhanded compliment. It's like no, it's just like it doesn't have unnecessary ambition
We got to
in
get
a way.
Snoop
Right.
and Ironheart. I feel like that
Yeah.
would work.
Oh,
I feel
that
like
would
that
be
would
Is,
work.
okay,
perfect.
I have an honest question. Is Snoop still incarcerated? Because I feel like she was for a while.
I'm gonna say I don't know. I ain't no
Okay.
snitch. I ain't no snitch, Jake.
That's fair. I feel like that is a matter of public record for the Department of Corrections.
If you say so.
No, okay, nope. She's good. She's good. She was in a little bit. Then she had some supervised probation, but now she's good. She was good, so she can be in it.
Well,
I
there
mean,
you
other than
go.
filming in London, it might be difficult, you know.
There you go. As far as my final thoughts on this movie, I'll just say this. Helena Belova, man, cemented herself as one of the great characters in MCU history. To me, she was kind of already on there, but her having her own movie and being able to be as successful as I felt like this performance was, and being the alpha and omega of what this movie was about, and creating a character that we can see for years going forward is very exciting. And I said this in our Discord, but Yelena leading the Avengers feels right to me. It just does, and I think that's an awesome moment to see going forward. And I'm excited to see where they take this new Avengers team, and hopefully they all survive Doomsday against our old pal RDJ. So that should be a lot of fun. But yeah, salute to Thunderbolts, Asterisk, New Avengers, whatever you want to call it. Fun movie to talk about. Looking forward to continuing to preview Avengers Doomsday as we will in the months to come. There's still MCU stuff coming out later this year. We got Ironheart next month, Fantastic Four in July. We got a bunch of shows that are coming out on Disney Plus, and both animated and live action that we can all look forward to. But it'll be nice to close a good chapter of the MCU with Thunderbolts. I want to thank our guests for joining us on this episode. First, Nerdalist Leah Marilla Thomas. Leah, where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me anywhere and everywhere at Leah Marilla, Marilla. What am I writing these days? My sites are falling into the void as well. Cosmopolitan, Teen Vogue, Collider, the big three kind of right now. You can still find me on Polygon. I don't know if I'll ever write there again. You can still find me on the Mary Sue. I don't know if I'll ever write there again. We're trying. It's happening. Hopefully more.
You keep trying and keep making it happen.
Sure do.
Appreciate you for stopping by and joining us once again. Our guy Rod, as always, much love, my brother. Where can we find you, sir?
The Blackout Tips podcast, just wherever you get podcasts, and on social media, Rodimus Prime on Twitter, and follow our new social media, Guess the Race, where we're playing the Guess the Race game, and we're putting the clips on social media. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, follow that and enjoy the Guess the Race game. Share it and get people involved.
Oh shit! I gotta tap in.
Yeah,
I gotta
man.
tap in on
Having
that
good times
fast.
over there.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. Thank you, Rod and Jake. Where can we find you, sir?
You can find me at the J Christie on Twitter, at J Christie on Blue Sky. Doing another one of my long live streams on the 17th. I'm going 24 hours again. I'm raising money for a charity called Zebra Youth, which is a really cool local charity in Central Florida that gives supplies and housing to LGBTQ youth, particularly gay and trans youth that get kicked out of their houses. So I'm raising money for that. My goal is $2,900 because I'm turning 29 next week. So if you could donate to that, it's all the stuff is on my Twitter and Blue Sky. If you have like $10, just please throw it my way and give me a movie you want me to watch. I really want to try to get that goal before the stream starts. I'm really excited to do it again because I talked to the director and they seem like a really cool charity. So looking forward to that.
Wonderful stuff, Jake. And I do have to say, before I give all of my follows, I want to give myself a lot of credit here. I don't usually hat tip myself, but I'm going to hat tip myself right now because basically for the last half hour, I've been not only hosting this podcast, but obviously the New York Knicks are in the conference semifinals against a team that they haven't beaten. They've been smoked by 4 consecutive times this year. And somehow, some way, they came back from down 20 and won in overtime. The New York Knicks are up on the Boston Celtics 1-0 in the conference semifinals, and I didn't even break a sweat on this podcast. Shout out to me for being a really good host.
You
Go
did.
Knicks.
Go Knicks, baby!
I've been watching.
And you can follow me.
I've been watching in the corner over here. Go New York, go New York, go.
Oh my God! Especially after Jalen Brunson missed that layup at the end of the regulation, I Dude, I was gonna blow a gasket, but I didn't because I'm a good ass host.
Good
So,
job.
with that being said, you can follow me on Twitter at AnthonyCanton_3. Follow me on Blue Sky, Anthony Canton3. Follow the show on all platforms at MC University Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Patreon, as I said, Fantastic Four, subscriber mailbag, all of the things that we do on the other side. $3. Get the Discord, all of those wonderful things. And thank you for listening and supporting us. For Leah and Rod and Jake, this is Anthony Canton III. This has been Marvel Cinematic University. We'll talk to you next time. Go Knicks!